folks, I'm here with Kyle Shipp, one of the town board members at Pittsboro, and one of the things that came up at the Pittsboro Town Board meeting, this last meeting, was a social district in Pittsboro. Kyle, what is a social district?
So a social district is a new state law, basically, that allows people to walk around with alcoholic drinks. So there's a lot of requirements around that. But for example, in Pittsboro, it would allow someone to go to Havoc and get a beer, and then come to the Pittsboro Art Gallery and walk around there with that beer as they shop and look, some of the retail places in town.
Now, there's a whole bunch of rules concerning the social district. You can't go into a shop without them having, I guess, signage on the door that says, "Yes, we welcome you in." Is that correct?
Right. So we would define an area that is the social district. So we would say this boundary is a social district, and then within that social district, their business can, if they have an ABC permit, they can decide to sell alcohol. That can leave, and there's requirements about the cup that it has to be in and the information on that cup and everything. Or, for example, a retail business could say, we want to participate in the social district, so you're welcome to bring your alcoholic beverage into our store while you shop around. Or a business can say, we don't want to participate in it, and so obviously you can shop there, but you're not allowed to bring an alcoholic drink into that. And we'll have specific signage on each door in the district that tells you the status of each business.
All right, you mentioned boundaries. I know there's some towns that are already doing this in North Carolina. Does Pittsboro have any idea of what the boundaries might be?
We put together, well, actually the Downtown Advisory Board, so this is something it's been allowed in North Carolina for about 2 years now, I think. And so it was something that we asked the Downtown Advisory Board to study. So they put together a report for us, and with a suggested boundary, suggested hours, and rules and things like that. And so the boundary is roughly the downtown area right now, but that's one of the things we talked about at our last meeting, and we'll talk about it at our next meeting, is what that boundary looks like, because we want to include establishments that sell alcohol, but also establishments that want to be able to have people come in and shop while they're enjoying that alcohol.
Now, is the social district a town board decision, or is it something that you vote on? Because I know when they had liquor by the drink, that was a vote on that.
Public vote, you mean, or
Yeah,
referendum?
Vote, yes.
Yeah. So this is a town board decision. So we would say what we want the boundaries to be, the hours to be, things like that, and then actually the town board would agree on that, and then submit it to the state ABC commission, and then they have the final approval of those things. So this is a request from the town board to the state ABC.
So whatever the town board does is going to have to go through a regulatory process and approval with the state. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned one of the things that is involved with the social district is times. Are there possibilities of times? I know you mentioned that during the last meeting. So what's Pittsboro considering right now?
Yeah, the suggestion from the Downtown Advisory Board, and they had some of their committees study that, and then the board as a whole. So their suggestion was 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week. And so we discussed that as a board, and we will likely do a shorter period than that, but don't really know yet. Maybe later on Sundays, starting later on Sundays, and things like that.
So you have the flexibility to have different times during different days of the week.
Yeah, the consideration there is just it's easier to say to communicate, that it's 11 to 11 every day. So it's harder to make people aware of what hours it is when it's different each day. But we have full flexibility to do whatever's best for the town.
Now, I think that came up in the meeting, was the shortest period of time was till 9 p.m. Is that correct?
I think from a survey of other places, yep. So there's about 20 or 25 other places in North Carolina that have social districts now. And so part of what our staff and our Downtown Advisory Board did was see what they have for policies and hours and things like that.
So who would handle the enforcement of the social district?
It's partly on the ABC permittees. So the bars and restaurants that would participate in terms of course, making sure who they're selling alcohol to and making sure they get it in the right type of cup. So the cup has to say Pittsboro Social District. It's got to be I don't know if it's plastic, but it's got to be, say Pittsboro Social District, where the drink came from, what date and time they got it. So a lot of that is on the establishments themselves, but then just like anything else, enforcement of being outside the social district or things like that would be on the police department.
So if I'm running a establishment that sells alcohol, and let's say your social district runs from 11 to 11, so basically once 11 o'clock hits, 11 p.m., and even if I'm open till 12 o'clock, I can't give you one of those cups then at 11:01.
Yeah, I'm actually not even sure what the cutoff is, because I think the cutoff is you can't be in the social district with those at 11. So I don't know if there's an earlier cutoff or something like that, but like at a baseball game where they shut it down early. But
seventh inning.
Yeah, I mean those are some of the details that we'll figure out and put in the policies. But yeah, certainly if if a establishment wrote 11:01 on that cup, they would be wrong and face penalties.
Where are you in the process right now? Because you did have the presentation. It was a 30-minute presentation at the board meeting this week. What happens from this point?
So that was, and a lot of what we're doing now with meetings is we'll kind of consider things as just discussion items, more like a work session style. So that's what we did with that. And then I believe our next meeting or the meeting after that, they'll bring it back for us to make a decision on the boundaries and the hours and things like that.
All right. Is that going to be open to public discussion, public input?
Sure. Yeah, we have the public comment period at all of our meetings. So that's certain. There's a lot of people there last meeting from the Downtown Advisory Board and local establishment owners and things like that. But none of them spoke necessarily, but certainly open for any meeting for anyone to come talk.
Pittsboro also has a noise ordinance, is that correct?
Yes.
So that would imply as well. So even though you may be out with your alcohol, you're not whooping and hollering.
Sure. I mean, the whole thing is you need to be responsible. So this doesn't change your requirement to be a responsible person.
All right. Anything else we need to know?
I think that's good.
All right, we're going to move on to our next topic, which is Parks and Recs and a whole bunch of other stuff. So we'll be right back.